morning, everybody. Welcome back to another weather forecast here. This is a major tropical forecast here on potential tropical cyclone 9, but extremely soon to become tropical storm Isaias. We have major updates on PTC 9, and we have a huge new track, including now portions of the of the Keys of Florida, and maybe even impacting now the western coast of Florida. We're going to be taking a look at the timing, the cone, who can get impacted, where this cone can go next on the next update, the strength, the intensity guidance, all of that in today's video, and hopefully I can have another one out later today this evening. We have major updates, still keeping an eye for Miami, maybe even Key West, areas near the Everglades, Homestead, Naples. You guys are still in a threat for maybe a landfall, so we're really going to keep a close eye on this. Before we get a video, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and also hit the post notification icon so you get notified as soon as I do another video on PTC 9, but this will be named extremely soon. Without further ado, let's get in this video. Here's a look now at the National Hurricane Center. As you see now, here we have PTC 9 right there now. It is still a potential tropical cyclone, but I'm telling you, this will be Isaias by maybe the next coming minutes, maybe by the end of the video, if not the 2 o'clock update here. We're just going to see exactly what they find on recon, but this thing does kind of have the structure now. It does already has tropical storm force winds. It just doesn't have the structure right now, but I think it has a structure for a tropical storm right now. We're going to be seeing exactly what it looks like after this. It is now moving. It now has 45 miles an hour, and they just updated now to 1,006 millibars. So it is continuing now to go get a lot stronger. Not only that, now it's 15.8 degrees north, so it's continuing to move south. Yesterday it was like 16.4, I believe, or 16.2, so it's continuing to move a lot more to the south, and it is now moving west-northwest at 23 miles an hour. So it is starting to slow down, which can very well help a lot more with improvement in organization. It already made landfall here in the Lesser Antilles. It's bringing some quite a strong wind for the St. Kitts area, U.S. and British Islands there, and maybe even very close to bringing some strong winds for Puerto Rico. Here's a look at the satellite imagery, and like I said, this thing very well has the structure now for to have a named storm here. Look at this. It has the extreme amount of convection here in the center of the storm right now. It starts to have the banding. It looks like it's this close to being a closed low pressure system. It really looks almost like it's closed. So this definitely has the structure for a tropical storm. It has the winds. It's had the wind, but now it may have the structure. So we can have a tropical storm extremely soon. Look at all the convection right there. Extreme amount of convection in the center of the storm, which means maybe we can have an eye wall developing in the future. And then here we have the bandings. This is some really nice banding here. It's very, let's just say, organized. It's very visible to see this banding, the process of the banding. So really, it does look like it does have the structure here for it to be a tropical storm. Let's check out moisture here. Look at that. We have a blow up of moisture here and convection in the middle of the storm, which is where the low pressure system is. That's exactly what you see with a tropical system that is tropical, not post-tropical, not potentially tropical. This is what you see with the full-on tropical system. A ton of moisture and humidity in the center of the storm and a ton of convection. It's exactly what we're seeing. You kind of see the so-called center of the storm. It's right there, that low pressure. You get the banding right here. The scatter moisture outside of this. This definitely has a structure for a tropical storm, in my opinion. Here's a look now at another satellite imagery. Look at that convection right there in the center of the storm. This is definitely got to be tropical right now. We'll see what they do with the 11 a.m. update, which is in about 4 minutes here. So we'll see at the end of the video here what the National Hurricane Center has to bring. But as you see, this storm is a lot more to the south, which means it is going to have a different path, maybe impacting more like the Keys, maybe Naples, Miami, and Homestead. You guys are still a threat here. But look at this convection. It's now looks like the most organized part of the storm is the northern part of this the northern center. So this is a huge new update here with the tracks, and let me just tell you guys, I don't think it's gonna go in the Gulf still. I still don't see it going in the Gulf, but here's a major update. As you see, now that it's all the way down here instead of up here, it's possible it's gonna avoid Puerto Rico. It's gonna avoid making landfall near the U.S. and British Islands there. As you see, this is kind of the cone now right here. This is kind of the cone. It kind of has definitely gone a lot more to the west based on this is still the cone here, in my opinion. I think this is definitely going to be the cone. I still think Miami is going to see maybe a chance for a landfall, and I will explain that later on. But you see a lot of the malls are now actually going west of Florida, kind of making landfall in the Key West, making landfall in the Parish area and the Everglades, and then just going right towards the Big Bend area. I don't think that's going to happen. You're probably thinking, Adrian, all of the malls are showing it. Why don't you think it's going to happen? Number one, it's unreasonable because these models are following the GFS, the CMC, and the Icon, which both, with all three of them, show it being a weak tropical storm by the time it gets to right here, which means it won't take that northern turn to southeastern Florida or eastern coast. The stronger the storm is, the more north it'll go. So if it goes through a huge rapid intensification phase from here to here, it's gonna do that. You can't tell me it's not gonna be a hurricane by the time it gets to right here. This thing already has 45 miles an hour, and I saw a couple tweets that said this thing that Recon found 65 miles an hour on 10-meter wind on the surface winds. That is a moderate tropical storm, and that's going to change the whole story. That means it can maybe become a hurricane right before Dominican Republic, and maybe Category 3 right here. So really, that's exactly why I don't think it's going to go right here. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't feel it. We've had, number two, we've had so many updates. It's kind of unpredictable. You can't believe this now because you can believe it, but you can't with full confidence. You can't say, oh, now it's gonna go here, because now that it's changed so many times, you kind of figure this is gonna change too. And where I think it's gonna change, I think we're kind of seeing an eastern trend now, where malls are kind of going like this now, like this. I kind of think we're going to see an eastern trend. We saw so many trends yesterday. We saw eastern, western yesterday. Now we're going to way west. I really still don't think it's going to go in the Gulf. If maybe Naples, maybe the Key West area, maybe those areas, but that's not really the Gulf if you really think about it. I still think Miami, Homestead, those areas near Kendall. I think you guys, even though you're not really where these spaghetti malls are showing you, you're still in the cone. I still think you guys need to watch out for potential landfall, because I'm telling you, we might see a huge eastern trend later today. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it's very likely, but if you guys want to say this is going to go in the Gulf, go ahead. I don't want to say it's going to, I don't think it's going to go in the Gulf. Maybe if it keeps on showing this by the end of today or early tomorrow, maybe. I don't see it really, because basically these malls are saying it's going to be extremely weak this whole time. So that's why it's going to be going a lot more to the west. Another track that I actually kind of believe is this right here. Here in this early cycle track guidance, it shows a lot more malls going towards southeastern Florida. That I think is extremely reasonable. You know why? Obviously it's going to go south of Puerto Rico, make landfall in the Dominican Republic, and right here it's going to start taking this turn like this, because it will be strengthening. Maybe possibly Category 2, maybe even Category 3. Because look, it's going to come out to the ocean right here, and it's going to make landfall right here most likely. That is so much time to strengthen. And this part of the ocean, this part of the Caribbean, has had a well-known history of IRs in this general region at this time. From July to September, we've had the 1935 storm. We've had many storms. I believe even Gordon, Hurricane Gordon, this actually strengthened to a huge IR here as well. I think this could very well become a very big storm in between Florida and Haiti, and that's what's going to take that slowly but surely northwestern turn into portions of southeastern Florida. There's a lot more malls showing this. There's a lot more malls showing this. Hold on. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm kind of thinking, like this. A lot more malls are showing that on this graph than this. So this kind of I agree with. This cone kind of, this is kind of my cone at this point, kind of where it goes like this. up to the Florida area. I think it's gonna go kind of go with the nav gem has been showing. I think the nav gem is very, very accurate, and I really agree with the nav gem. I'll show you guys what it shows, and then maybe like this. That's what I think is gonna happen. I think that's very likely. I think it's still gonna go up Florida, but we'll see. Don't take my word 100% if you don't want to. But here is now the new National Hurricane Center update. I see they also show it going into the Gulf. I don't see that happening, guys. I know it's the National Hurricane Center. I know who they are. I know that, but I'm not sure exactly about the national. I'm not really sure about this happening. I'm not really sure about this going all the way up the West Coast and completely avoiding inland Florida. Yeah, it's gonna make landfall in the Key West, but look, they shoot at the tropical storm right here, and that's probably maybe 50 miles an hour. That's exactly why the National Hurricane Center is showing avoiding southeastern Florida, because it's going to be very, very weak. The National Hurricane Center tends to really under forecast storms. They really do. They did it with Hannah. That's like the most recent example. Look, they showed it as a tropical storm as far as here. If you're telling me this thing had Category 1 force from the recon yesterday, and it has 45 miles an hour right now, you're telling me it's not going to be reaching 75 as far as here? Sorry, National Hurricane Center. I don't believe that. I don't think that's viable. I think this is kind of what's going to happen. Maybe like that. That can happen because it would be going through a huge rapid intensification right here. Also, the reason why the National Hurricane Center maybe shows it not being as strong is because they should possibly be making landfall very briefly on Cuba, which I do not see it happening at all. Sorry, National Hurricane Center. I really don't think this is a really reasonable cone. Obviously, I'm 14 and they're professionals, so if you don't want to take my word for it, don't. I'm just saying I think they're going to start showing this at an eastern trend. Who knows, maybe it does continue to go west. At that point, maybe I'll see, but I think the reason why I'm saying this is not going to go in the Gulf like this because it's going to go through rapid intensification. That's the reason why I'm saying that. I'm not saying because I want to hit Miami. I'm not saying because I want to hit South Florida. I'm going based on the atmospheric conditions, going based on what we're seeing and what can very well happen, and also I'm going off based on the history of this region of the Caribbean. So, and you see, we got a tropical storm warning now for portions near St. Kitts, the Lesser Antilles, U.S. Virgin and British Islands, Puerto Rico, including now Dominican Republic and Haiti as well, portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti coast, also including now areas near St. Parish, also including areas right there near Turks and Caicos, and then we have tropical storm watches for portions of the Bahama Islands. But that's the National Hurricane Center. Now let's go and check out now the GEFS small tracks here. This is a new update. This is decently reasonable. I do see it now going south of Puerto Rico and starting to take that northwestern turn. You know why?
Wi-Fi isn't set up on this device. You can find instructions in the
Sorry guys, that's my new
Alexa app.
That's my new Alexa. I just got that yesterday for my birthday. that was kind of weird and out of the ordinary, and that was uncalled for. I apologize, but yeah, I think it's gonna take that northwestern turn there, because it could be possibly maybe reaching 60, maybe even 70 miles an hour at that point. Because it's going to start, not rapid intensification, but going to start strengthening a little bit at the point where we're supposed to take that northwestern turn there. But with the kind of National Hurricane Center, kind of shows it going like this, like that. That's kind of what the National Hurricane Center is showing, a lot more to the south. But they're going to make landfall in the Dominican Republic, and I do see it making landfall for southeastern Florida. As you see on the GEFS model, a lot more showing it going to right in the eastern United States and the eastern Florida area than the western Florida area. So that's not only trackthetropics.com, those early forecast models, and also the GEFS tracks are also all agreeing on more of an eastern Florida storm than a western Florida storm. Really, the only area is the tropical Tempest tracks, but that's also kind of biased against CMC and Icon, so that's kind of exactly why it's kind of showing more of a Gulf storm. Here's a look now at the NavGem. I agree with the NavGem around 95% really. I think the NavGem can show it a little bit stronger, but it's a global model, so they don't want to over forecast it that much. But look, they show it getting up to 1,001 millibars before. within the next 24 hours. So going to definitely start strengthening, which is why it's going to start taking that northwestern turn towards the Dominican Republic area instead of going south of that area. Then it's going to come out at 1,000 millibars, not even touch Cuba, not even touch the Bahamas. Going to start strengthening now a lot more. 996, 993. Look, there it is, heading for portions of the Florida area, and then boom. I think the nav gem could be a little bit more to the east, but look, they do show it hitting the central Key West and then staying inland, not going outside like this. I don't think it's gonna go like that whatsoever. You know, I think that the nav gem is pretty reasonable on this. I think the nav gem can show it maybe making landfall a little bit more to the east, maybe inland Florida, maybe like the Homestead area, maybe the Parish area of the Everglades, maybe around there. But I think the nav gem's a lot more accurate than the other models here, and that's exactly why it's showing taking that northwestern trend like this, because it will be strengthening a lot more than other models are forecasting, which is why those other models are showing it going in the Gulf. CMC here, look at 1,004 millibars there in the areas near in between Haiti. As you see, look, it's going to be showing the same millibar. It's going to be showing 1,004 when it comes out of Haiti, and 1,004. It's because it's going to be right in the Cuban coast, so it can't possibly really strengthen, which is exactly why it shows it going out into the Gulf. And I don't agree with the CMC really whatsoever. Icons, check out the icon here. The new icon update has new updated. It shows it at 1,000 millibars. I think the icon may be showing more of a southeastern landfall for Florida, because look where it is at 1,000 millibars. That's kind of what the nav gem is showing, but nav gem is showing a little stronger. But look, it's gonna go maybe like that. Maybe that's what the icon is showing. So maybe the icon is waking up. We'll check that out there. And then we'll check out the European model, see the vorticity, what they're showing. They kind of course, still show going actually way out in the Gulf and then taking a mental turn to the Panhandle. So that's a little weird. And then the last thing we'll be looking at is the 10-meter winds here. GFS, of course, going to be getting a little intensification as it goes south of Puerto Rico and then just falls apart. I don't know what the GFS is really doing right there. Nav gem, check out the nav gem right here. As you see, going to bring in the strongest winds to the north, so we can see some big impacts for Puerto Rico, maybe around 55 miles an hour, and then it's going to start really strengthening as it gets in between Haiti and Florida. That's we're expected to really strengthen, and then been possibly going to really affect portions of Florida a lot. So going to bring some very strong winds for areas such as maybe just north of Miami, including Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood. You guys can make some really strong winds. Going to make landfall just over the St. Parish area where we have the Everglades. Sorry, not St. Parish, near the Parish Everglades area, and it's going to kind of go to the west, and then going to go further inland, like an Irma track where it goes up Florida, except this time it's going to actually goes toward the Carolinas there. So I think that nav gem's pretty a lot more reasonable than the other models there. Let's go and check out, see if they actually updated this by any chance. They probably haven't. They still showed at PTC 9, which is, I just don't understand. This thing's moving. This thing has the structure of a tropical storm, but I don't know if the National Hurricane Center is really doing right now. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please subscribe if you're new, and I'll have many more uploads on this big system.